I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for your support. Hey y'all, it's Kate from Literary Apothecary, and welcome back to another bi-weekly reading vlog. Now this week I'm going to be starting to do something different, and I want to highlight some amazing Booktube content creators out there. So in each of my reading vlogs, I'll be highlighting a different booktuber or content creator. This week I'm starting with one of my best friends at Leslie at the Nerdy Narrative. Leslie is absolutely amazing. Her reviews are so fantastic. I know exactly what to expect out of the book, and she always makes me add books to my wish list because she's so well at describing them, and she gives it a fair review. Even though most of her reviews are positive, you still get a good idea of exactly what she thought of the book. Leslie reads fantasy, horror, thrillers, murder mysteries, I think a little bit of sci-fi, a little bit of classics, a little bit of everything, and I absolutely love her. So if you haven't already, go ahead and check out Leslie's channel, and don't forget to subscribe because her content is absolutely amazing. One of the new things that she's been doing is she has this video with authors. A lot of them are self-pub authors, and it's her and the author talking about why the author's story, their book stories, matter. And I love this new series. This is so fun and so great to hear from the author's point of view and why their story should matter to you. Now let's get to my current reads. So starting off this 2 weeks, this bi-weekly reading vlog, I'll be reading Emma, which I hope to finish like early this week. I think I have like maybe 15 pages left, which is like a couple chapters. This is Emma by Jane Austen, of course, the classic romance of Emma, and I can't say who because that'll give away spoilers. This is my 4th or 5th read of this, and I am absolutely loving it. I'm reading this as part of a buddy read with Evie and Stephanie and Christy and Tiffany. I'm also making my way through Middlegame by Shauna McGregor, and y'all, I am absolutely loving this book so much. It takes a lot of focus, and I think it'll be even better on reread when I have better focus in my mind for it, but I'm absolutely loving it. I've connected to these two characters so much. So in Middlegame, we have Roger, who is gifted with words and language and understands the world through story. We have Dodger, his twin, she's a numbers girl, and all that she understands is through math. And then they're not exactly human, but not exactly gods yet. And we also have Reed, who is skilled in alchemical arts, and he created Roger and Dodger. He has a plan to raise them to the highest power, ascend with them, and claim their authority as his own. And I'm just absolutely loving this book so much. It jumps back and forth between point of views and different timelines, which can be confusing if you're not paying attention, but I absolutely love it. I'm also reading, of course, Jade Legacy, which is book 3 in the Green Bone Saga by Fonda Lee. This book is amazing. In my opinion, as of right now, the best book in the series. She, of course, has excellent character work, even though it's sometimes a tad difficult to follow the timeline because it jumps around, and if you're not paying attention, you don't always catch when it jumps to a different time period. It's still really well done. I am absolutely loving this read. I am also still listening to the audiobook of Just Last Night, which was my patron pick of the month for August, picked by Ev. This is a contemporary romance, which now at the point where I'm at, feels like it's leading into maybe enemies to lovers trope. We'll see where this story goes. I think I'm about 65%, maybe 70% through this book, and I can't wait to see how this ends up. And then the last book that I'm currently reading is Petals on the Wind by V.C. Andrews, which is of course book 2 in the Dollinger series, the Flowers in the Attic series. This one is an interesting book. It's not quite as crazy as the first book, not quite as creepy, but still has its elements. And I can't wait to see how this is going to end up, because one of our characters right now is gearing up for major revenge on another character. And I can't wait to see if they finally get that revenge. I am nearing the end of this book also, so I hope to finish this by the end of the week. But we'll see how much reading time I actually get in. So that's my check-in for now, and I'll check in with y'all again very soon. Bye. Hey y'all, so I have just one more check-in for this week. But first and foremost, let me say hello and thank you again to our new subscribers, and especially Greenstick Cottage. Thank you so much for subscribing. It really means the world to me, because without you all, I'd just be sitting here talking to myself. So thank you for subscribing. Now, I didn't get a lot of reading done this week because this week was like extra busy for some reason. But what I did get done is I finished Middlegame by Shauna McGregor yesterday morning. I think it was yesterday. Maybe it was the day before yesterday. Absolutely amazing book. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars, and I can't wait to reread it one day, because I think it would be even better on a reread when I can really focus on it. One thing that I noticed as I was nearing the end of this book is that it gave me like a spooky Starless Sea feel to it. So the Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern has a similar vibe of kind of stories being told along with the story of the main book. And you're kind of, at least I was not sure as I was reading this, if the little stories that we got in between the books or the parts of this book were the same characters throughout the book, just under different names, or if it was totally different. I am told by Leslie that they're totally different. And we had something kind of similar happen in the Starless Sea. And it's also, you know, that kind of mystery feel, a lot about books. It just had a very similar feel, but in a much spookier way than Starless Sea did. And y'all know how much I love Starless Sea. So 5 out of 5 stars for Middlegame by Shauna McGregor. Thank you, Sharon, for sending this to me and putting it on my TBR for August. I absolutely loved it. Hey y'all, so as I was editing this week's bi-weekly reading vlog, I realized that I didn't check in when I finished 2 books. So I'm gonna check in now and give you my thoughts on these 2 books. Actually 3 books. So I finished Emma by Jane Austen, and I gave this, I think, 4.5 or 4 stars. I can't remember. I enjoyed it a lot. This is one of my favorite Jane Austen novels. However, once my audiobook loan ran out with the library, I didn't enjoy it as much without that one narrator reading it. So I finished that in these last 2 weeks. I also finished Just Last Night, which was the audiobook I was listening for my patron pick for August. I ended up really liking this book a lot. I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was a very cute romance. And I can't really talk a lot about it without giving away spoilers, but it was very cute. It did turn into enemies to lovers trope. So if you enjoy that trope, you probably would enjoy this book. It had a lot of good, strong female characters also. And then I also finished the Petals on the Wind book, which is book 2 in the Dollinger Children's series. I also gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I thought, just like the first book, the writing and the prose was very well done. Yes, I do not agree with a lot of stuff that happened in the book, but the prose and the writing was just so good. And I, just like the first book, I did a reading vlog of this for my patrons. So if you want to see my thoughts as I moved along in the book, then go join my Patreon. It's only $1 a month, and you can see my reading vlogs there. Now, let's talk about the books that I'm going to be reading this weekend. I hope to get some more reading in. I have a lot of homework to do, but I'm hoping to balance that kind of with my reading and my homework. So what I'll be reading this weekend, I'm going to be reading Jade Legacy because I need to see what happens in that. The Folklore of Discworld, which is the audiobook that I'm listening to right now, absolutely fantastic. So good. Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. Now, I was supposed to be on a live show for this on later this week. Now, I was supposed to be on a live show for Legends and Lattes later this week. However, I have conflicting plans for that day, so I may not be on this live show. I told them to feel free, Vish and Stephanie, to, go and do it without me because, you don't need to change your plans just for me. But we'll see what happens. I'll keep you all updated. Also, The Maid I'll be continuing on, which is now my ebook that I'll be reading since I finished Middlegame. This is the Wine and Crime Book Club of the month for September, and also my Patron of the Month picked by Stacy. Amazing. Thank you for picking a book already on my list. And then 2 books that I've started today. Well, 1 book that I have already started and 1 book that I will be starting later today. The first one is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's / Philosopher's Stone. This is the illustrated edition by Jim Kay. This is absolutely freaking beautiful. As you know, I'm doing a reread, read-along with Leslie at the Nerdy Narrative. We're just doing a very casual reread together. A couple people on my Discord are joining. I have a channel on the Discord for this. But we've started it on September 1st. And we've decided we're going to at least try for 1 chapter a day to get through these books. I'm already behind because that's, how things go here. But I've gotten through 1 chapter and it's just feels like this is the only way that you should be reading these books now. The pictures are just absolutely gorgeous. This is one of my favorites from chapter 1. I just love all of those little owls in the back, and just the colors on the page are just brilliant. I absolutely love them so much. And then the other book that I will be starting tonight is part of my Books My Boyfriend Gave Me series. So this month was John's birthday, and I gave him the option of, first I was going to read some books that he owns, but he decided he wanted to change it up, and I said, it's your birthday, you can decide whatever books you decide I will read in the month of September. He decided he wanted to buy me some books while we were at Barnes & Noble for me to read for this month, and we stumbled upon some of the Lord John Grey books. These are novellas or short novels all about Lord John Grey, who, if you don't know, he's a minor but very important character in the Outlander series and my personal favorite character in this series. And we have a whole series now just about Lord John Grey. So I looked up the recommended reading order for these books. Diana Gabaldon says that you can read them in any order. They all could be standalones, but then she also lists a reading order if you wanted to follow along in particular order. So the first thing listed in her reading order for the Lord John Grey series is actually a short story, which was the very first Lord John Grey story that she wrote, which was originally for an anthology. Now we have, this is Lord John and the Hand of Devils. This is actually a collection of novellas or short. The Hellfire Club is a novella turned into a novella. So these are 3 novellas in here, I believe. There's 3 novellas in this book. The first book, the first one up, Lord John and the Hellfire Club, is what I'm going to be starting with. And then I'll switch to Lord John in the Private Matter, which is another book that I have. And that is a novel on its own. And then I think we come back to a novella, and then we go to a novel, and then we come back to a novella, and then we go to the 3rd novel and a short story. So I'll be switching back and forth between Lord John Grey series stories this month, but the first one starting off is the novella Lord John and the Hellfire Club, which is part of Lord John and the Hand of Devils. So I'll be reading that later today, and I can't wait because y'all know how much I love Lord John. Anyways, that's enough rambling from me. Let me know in the comments below, what was your favorite reading moment these past 2 weeks? What are you looking forward to reading most next week? As always, my Patreon and my Discord information will be in the description below. There's no pressure to join either, but we have a ton of fun at both. Keep reading, and I love y'all to the moon and back. Bye.